Little late start tonight, guys. Forgive me, but let's get this thing going. All right, good evening, esteemed viewers, and welcome to tonight's episode of Know Your Pharmacist, hosted by me, Dr. Joaquin Acosta, CEO of PharmTrue. Tonight, we embark on a journey that bridges the gap between the marvels of medical innovation and the holistic wellness of our communities. In the heart of Tampa, a new era of healthcare dawns with the TampaWell's Community Garden and Food Pharmacy, a testament to the transformative power of integrating nutrition with medical care. Imagine a world where food is not just a sustenance, but a medicine, a healer. At TampaWell, this vision is becoming a reality, showcasing that when we nurture our bodies with the right nutrients, we cultivate health and well-being right from the ground up. Shifting gears to the forefront of medical technology, we delve into Neuralink's groundbreaking achievement, the first human brain chip implant. Picture a future where the boundaries between human cognition and advanced technology blur. It's going to be wild, right? Opening doors to unprecedented medical possibilities. This innovation isn't just a scientific triumph, it's a beacon of hope for countless individuals, heralding a new chapter in human capability and resilience. So, hydration, a simple yet vital aspect of our daily lives. Tonight, we unravel the myths surrounding the 8x8 rule and dive deep into the science of hydration. Understanding how our bodies process and utilize water is not just about quenching thirst. It's about optimizing our physical and cognitive functions. I learn something new every day too, guys. And this one caught up to me on the late end. But anyways, proper hydration is more than routine. It's a foundation for a healthy life. It's true. In our Herbal Wellness Corner today, sponsored by High Horse Cannabis Company, we explore the synergistic effects of THC and CBD together. These two remarkable compounds, though distinct in their mechanisms, come together in a delicate dance of therapeutic benefits. From anti-inflammatory properties to neuroprotective effects, we'll uncover how these cannabinoids can be harnessed for holistic health. Our community spotlight shines on the Southern New Mexico Diabetes Outreach, highlighting their upcoming event with Miss New Mexico. This segment underscores the importance of community health This segment underscores the importance of community in health awareness and education, fostering a space where knowledge and encouragement can flourish. Lastly, in our Men's Health Minute, we emphasize the critical need for testicular self-examinations. That time of the month, men. This simple practice can be life-saving, highlighting the power of awareness and early detection in combating health issues. Tonight's live stream is a tapestry of topics, each thread woven with intent to enlighten, empower, and engage. Together, we're not just viewers or participants, we are a community united in the pursuit of knowledge and wellness. So let's embark on this journey of discovery, innovation, and health. Your presence here is not just valued, it's integral to the tapestry we're creating. Together we are shaping a healthier, more informed world. Thank you for joining me, Dr. Joaquin Acosta, on this enlightening journey. Let's dive into the wonders of healthcare and the wellness that awaits us. Welcome to the Know Your Pharmacist live stream. Jumping on in. All right. So, revolutionizing community health, guys. TampaWell, this one's pretty cool. Non-traditional, for our pharmacy people who might be thinking, is this just another pharmacy? Not quite, guys. We'll show you right here just how cool this pretty cool this is, excuse me. So powering down that. Looks better.
Data lost or missing. Get lost data back with EasyUS Data Recovery Wizard.
Tampa healthcare professionals are combining medicine and food to create the ultimate wellness destination.
And today, Tampa General Hospital is launching a community garden and food pantry in East Tampa. Fox 13's Regina Gonzalez is live for us there now. And Regina, we know leaders just took part in the ribbon cutting. What's going on out there?
Well, what we could tell you is the TampaWell's Community Garden and Pharmacy is now officially open to TGH patients as well as the public. People are kind of walking around, taking a tour of the beautiful grounds located in East Tampa right now. And in fact, one of the speakers, the last speaker to finish off all the remarks, was the lovely Janice Carr, the manager of this entire site. They actually called you a unicorn.
I love that.
Because they were looking for the perfect person to run this. And this has really been a passion project for you. Can you talk about that?
Oh, absolutely. So I have been farming for about 9 years, organic farming, and had been doing things within the community, but this was the first time they brought me into my community because I live in River Grove, and also put me right next to people with the greatest area of need in terms of wellness, in terms of what their conditions were, and it brought me to why I started farming in the first place, which is because I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I recognized how food was impacting health.
Absolutely. So can you explain, I know it will be offered to both TGH patients and people in the community can come here. Can you explain how it works?
Sure. So with the food pharmacy, so anyone who is a Health Park patient, which I encourage you if you're not to be a Health Park patient, and they have a food insecurity, and with that food insecurity, if they have a diet-related illness, which is the 3 diagnoses that we're focusing on right now is hypertension, obesity, and diabetes, obesity, and hypertension. Did I say those all 3? It's all 3 of those. So if they have those and also pre-diabetes, then they can get a referral from their doctor to come to the food pharmacy, which gives them a 6-month prescription for fresh fruits and vegetables and healthier shelf-stable items. And they can come in every week during those 6 months.
Wow. And I think we got some examples,
yes,
right?
So this is a little sample of some of the things. It is a self-shop. So when they come in, I call them and make an appointment that's convenient for them. And these are some of the items that they can pick up. They can make the selections that they like. There's mangoes, carrots. You cannot have a pickup without mangoes in this area, okay? When I'm out of mangoes, they are not happy. Grapefruit, there's some dried lentils, there's even spices. So it's anything to put together a nice healthy meal. We provide some options with our partners, Feeding Tampa Bay. They provide some partners, some recipes. So it's actually recipes included, and all the ingredients are included in the options that they're able to shop for. Wow. So it makes it convenient that way. We also have many different classes that we're able to direct them to. That's through Tampa General Hospital that are more wellness classes, anywhere from positive mental health to movement classes, movement as medicine. So as they come in, we can help direct them to other areas of wellness. So it's not just a food pickup, it's also an area so they can complete their area, complete their wellness journey and participate in it. So we're excited about that. The community garden is open from 9 to 4. Anyone can come in and just enjoy the garden, and soon programming will start as we get ready to go with phase 2, which is going to have a outdoor classroom, which we'll be doing a lot of classes in it. So, but in the meantime, I just encourage people to come out and enjoy it. Come and see what we're starting here and be a part of it. So
absolutely. Well, we know that the community is so grateful for this, especially this specific area. I know it was talked about a lot how this is an area that is in much need of something like this. Janice, thank you for all your work, your efforts. Russell, Laura, will send it back to you. We're going to enjoy these beautiful gardens, and hopefully next hour we'll be able to take you inside the pharmacy. It's so packed right now because.
Anyways, guys, literally this food pharmacy just opened like today. So, I'm sure other little models and things are going to come out and about kind of just like it. But, down here in Las Cruces, New Mexico, where we've got the farmers market and things like that, this is almost just one extra nice little step there where you can really integrate, the healthcare experience, the food is medicine concept, and you have their healthcare providers there at the park and the food park who, when you're going there, prescribed, to go there if you have diabetes, obesity, or hypertension. You get the 6-month prescription for fresh fruits and vegetables and healthier shelf-stable items. Very cool. And they, basically go and work you up to try to create not only healthier habits, but the diet as well. So when you're there in the garden, in the community garden, the purpose there is to learn about not only gardening, but nutrition, healthy eating habits, along with actually preparing, your own food that you would grow and how to do that kind of stuff. So pretty cool food pharmacy, guys, today in a world where we really see a lot of traditional, regular just pharmacy, right? There's not a pill in sight there, but it's a food pharmacy looking for those with food insecurities, and, the three big targets there in Tampa that they're looking at: diabetes, hypertension, and obesity, and, arming these people with awesome, additional non-pharmacological interventions that have multiple points of, stimulation. It takes a lot of different ways to engage somebody, right? Our obviously traditional ways of medicine are okay, but they can obviously be improved. So creating an experience there where healthcare providers can be a part of it, nutritionists and everybody, kind of closes a pretty cool little gap there. I think, man, that would be cool in our community for sure. I bet it's going to start, that kind of model continues to roll out. Anyways, let's jump around. Neuralink, guys. Who saw the headline today? How about that? Neuralink finally implanted successfully in a human. First human trial from Neuralink today. Elon Musk is absolutely pumped up about that, right? So, looking at that, guys, I think, the future for this is pretty cool. But according to this, guys, the first human patient received an implant from the brain chip startup Neuralink on Sunday, yesterday, and is recovering well. The company's billionaire founder, Elon Musk, said initial results show promising neuron spike detection. Musk said in his social media post today, guys, spikes are activities by neurons, which the National Institute of Health describes as cells that use electrical and chemical signals to send information around the brain and body. The US FDA had given the company clearance last year to conduct its first trial to test its implants on humans. In September, Neuralink said it received approval for recruitment for the human trial for paralysis patients. The study uses a robot to surgically place a brain-computer interface BCI implant in the region of the brain that controls the intention to move. Neuralink said previously, adding that its initial goal is to enable people to control a computer cursor or keyboard cursor using their thoughts alone. That the implant's ultrafine threads help transmit signals in participants' brains. Neuralink said the first product from Neuralink would be called telepathy, Musk said in a separate post on X. So basically insane. It's coming, it's here, it's now. First human trial. We'll see how long, until this is almost commercially available, guys. Speed moves fast. Would you do it? Post it below. Man, I bet it's going to be somehow pretty dang standard, be somehow integrating with this stuff eventually. People maybe right now might, of course, be super questioning it, but biotech and the way we see it as it is, it's pretty insane. Who knows? Some like the initial kind of use case that was talked about in the previous years were people that were really looking to live forever type of thing and transfer your consciousness around and be able to use it for that sort of alchemy. But, I think in terms of even getting value out of the here and now, it sounds like the idea of being able to work the computer with your thoughts, pretty cool. But at that point, what thoughts are even yours anymore, right, guys? It's crazy. Anyways, we'll talk next. So this one, slap in the face, hit me recently. Thanks, Dr. LeBoy. Again, talking to me about just how in our Enlightenment Hour, I realized I drink water wrong and it screws me up. So for those of you who, have been raised by me about the 8x8 rule, take a look at this nice explanation about the science of hydration. So the idea that humans should drink a minimum amount of water for optimal health goes back centuries. Hydropathy, a discipline touted by alternative practitioners in the 19th century, claimed that water was a cure-all for much of what ailed humans. Hydropathy, right? And I'm sure we've all heard these terms before. How many of us, have taken our hydration into our own hands? Which I'm sure there's a bunch. But anyways, so Vincent Presnitz, farmer in Austria, promoted this notion and opened an institute in 1829 to support the practice of hydropathy. How many hydropathy institutes do you see today? Whether it's called that or not, I don't know. Well, anyways, despite Presnitz's lack of formal education, his idea became popular and he was deemed the father of hydrotherapy. So in 1945, the U.S. Food and Nutrition Board issued guidelines indicating that people should drink 2.5 liters of fluid per day. However, there was an added bit of information associated with the recommendation that seems to have been lost over the years. As if people stopped reading before they go to the end, most of this quantity is contained in prepared foods. This resulted, prepared foods already, so water, in the food that you eat hydrates you on top of the water you drink, but it's not water that we necessarily account for, which interesting. But so what happened? Well, U.S. nutritionist Frederick J. Stair ended up recommending consuming a minimum of 6 glasses of water a day. Stair did not offer any support for the recommendation, admitting that the reason was not fully understood. And in more recent years, we've all heard the recommendations, regarding how much water healthy adults should drink. 8 glasses of 8 ounces of water every day, right? Although 64 ounces of water a day, which is just shy of 2 liters, won't hurt a healthy adult, Dr. Heinz Valtin disputed the idea that it was medically necessary in a 2002 article in the APS journal, the American Journal of Physiology, Regulatory, Integrative, and Comparative Physiology, which I'm showing you right here. Drink at least 8 waters a day. Really, is there scientific evidence for 8 by 8? Right. Anyways, he died in 2019. And he was challenging the evidence, right? No scientific studies that he could find supporting the 8 by 8 theory of 8, ounces of water 8 times a day, 64 ounces total. Rather, surveys of food and fluid intake on thousands of adults of both genders, analysis of which have been published in peer-reviewed journals, strongly suggest that such large amounts are not needed because the surveyed persons were presumably healthy and certainly not overly ill. So interesting, right? How to hydrate then? Well, most of us have done it. I am the king of this multiple times per day. Out in hot water, realize we're thirsty, we grab a bottle of water, guzzle it down, often in one go to satisfy the thirst. But that's not really the best way to hydrate, says Dr. Lindsay Baker, a senior principal scientist at Gatorade Sports Science Institute. In general, it's best to sip a little bit throughout the day. Most people take in larger amounts when they're eating meals and snacks, which helps the body retain the fluid, but sudden ingestion in large amounts of plain water by itself generally just ends up being eliminated in the urine pretty quickly. Chugging a glass of water initiates what's called a bolus response, says Dr. Evan Johnson, Associate Professor of Exercise Physiology at the University of Wyoming. A bolus response is the body's protective mechanism against hyponatremia. After consumption of a large amount of fluid, it causes the body to excrete a larger proportion of that suddenly introduced fluid. Hence, bladder, right? Anyways, sensors in the mouth and throat trigger the oropharyngeal response, which perceives a large, potentially dangerous volume of water coming into the system. And regardless of your body's need for that water, it will move forward and start the process of diuresis. So, if you consistently drink smaller amounts of water over the course of the day, it's less of an alert to the body to start that process, right? And it's just crazy because considering I was putting my body into a diuretic process all day for like the last 30 years, I'm starting to pull the brakes and start to reevaluate the way I honestly do drink water, because it's like, well, does water even get to where it needs to go if you're sitting there, pounding down water all day long, right? And just peeing it out. So anyways, in addition to all that, much of our fluid comes from the food we eat. There are the obvious foods such as soup. Most people don't eat that every day, maybe some do, but fluid makes up a large part of many of our other foods, such as fresh fruit, yogurt, and much more. Often people who say they rarely feel thirsty are actually getting enough fluid from their overall diet, says Dr. Joseph Verbalis, a professor of medicine and chief of endocrinology and metabolism at Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. People who like soups and other foods that have a higher water content are obviously going to get more water than the people who eat more dry types of foods, but the combined water content of food plus your thirst-driven intake is plenty sufficient to maintain normal hydration. We're also starting to notice that female law enforcement officials are reducing their water intake because they have to wear so much gear on their belt for them to use the restroom. It's like a 10-minute procedure. Despite that, the mantra of drinking 8 glasses of water took off, and it's now commonplace to see people toting water bottles as they go about their daily activities. But the initial recommendations never said that the fluid had to be water. In fact, people want to abide by this rule. Most fluids count, including caffeinated drinks, milk, juice, and maybe even beer, according to this 2002 article, right? But the idea that drinks such as coffee and beer work against hydration rests with the belief that these drinks increase the need to urinate, which could be interpreted as losing fluid. However, this isn't the case. You can drink a beer and probably lose a little bit of it, says Dr. Tamara Hugh Butler, but it's not enough to affect your hydration, she says. Hugh Butler is an associate professor of exercise and sports science at Wayne University in Detroit. Some people believe that the same of caffeinated drinks, but this isn't true either. That's actually another myth, Hugh Butler says. Studies have shown that caffeine is not really a diuretic. If you're taking in more coffee or tea, it's the fluid that's driving the urination. The fluid, not the caffeine. Crazy, right? So I guess if you were looking at that in proportion, a 5-hour energy or a shot of espresso, which is a short amount of fluid there, may be a different case, but at least most people, where they're drinking an 8-ounce, 12-ounce cup of coffee, big giant cup, is probably more liquid water beverage than they should have been taking in the first place, causing them to go into the bolus state and start needing to excrete, right? So it's just very interesting. So anyways, Dr. Baker here agrees all beverages count in terms of hydrating throughout the day. So coffee counts, tea, juices, electrolyte beverages, carbohydrate, and electrolyte beverages, they all count. She said that athletes, even in this case, are encouraged to be selective when choosing their beverages in relation to exercise. There are some beverages that are better than others. Obviously, we know that. For example, if athletes participate in an exercise where it's longer in duration, high intensity in the heat, when they need to start thinking about including sodium in addition to water to help replace those losses and help support hydration and plasma volume, which is important for their cardiovascular function and performance. So looking at all that, guys, it just creates a lot of perhaps demystifying there in terms of what's actually going on. This isn't telling people to completely stop water entirely, and I'm not trying to get that, guys, but what I would like to perhaps beg the question is, can you just drink less more often and see if that changes things for you, right? Like for a guy that has to pee 15 times a night, since I've been, trying this since I was told this a couple weeks ago, it's at least frequented a little less, right? But, my prostate's good. We're all good on all that. But, at the end of the day, I would sit there, I could chug a whole glass of water, feel like, hey, I did my job, I did my duty, right? I got my ounces in. And so, those silly thoughts there perhaps led to the fact that I would go thus chug another, large amount of water later once my body goes into a dehydrated state, because it had to bolus out that water real quick. So, it's an interesting concept there, which creates a negative feedback loop for those of us who guzzle water. So, I know down here in the Las Cruces, New Mexico, hot heat area, guys, I mean, definitely not saying to reduce your water intake. I'm just saying, constant flow, minimize that thing over time. 64 ounces in a day, sure, but don't do it 8 glasses of 8 ounces, right? Don't do big chugs. This would be, it's got to be more routine, or take down, the amount of water there. But it's just crazy, guys, to kind of consider that, because I think that one's a pretty, false belief to some degree that has probably still going to be challenged in a lot of ways from people. But, so let's see the ideal fluid intake then, right? So according to the article here from, the American Journal of Physiology, the ideal daily fluid intake, much like the recommendation that healthy adults should consume 2,000 calories a day, a recommendation that adults consume 64 ounces of water a day is also a generalization. According to Hugh Butler, it's a one size that doesn't fit all. She says it's not going to work for everybody in all situations. Everyone's fluids needs will fluctuate depending on their individual circumstances, which, I think underlyingly we all could assume that. But some people may have a medical issue that restricts the amount of fluid they should consume on a daily basis. Others may need to increase their fluid intake, such as people with kidney stones or hypercalcemia. But most people should consider matters such as how active they are, how warm the weather is, their diet, and their size. These are all vital issues in helping determine if someone is drinking enough. Athletes must find the right balance to help them reach their peak performance. Here, they inform athletes that each athlete is unique and each athlete loses a different amount of sweat when they're exercising. While not essential for the average person, if you're looking at literal peak performance there, in that case, the timing of fluid consumption is also important for athletes, performance athletes here, recommending that athletes start thinking about their hydration before exercise, about 4 hours before. She follows the American College of Sports Medicine guidelines, which recommend the slow consumption of 5 to 7 milliliters of fluid per kilogram of body weight at least 4 hours before exercise. So, guys, if you wanted to hit the scientific, athletic, dose and frequency of how to drink water, that's it right there. The slow consumption of 5 to 7 milliliters of fluid per kilogram of body weight at least 4 hours before exercise. That's your, at least college athlete recommendation, which they're going to be, definitely probably exercising more than most of the average, individuals that are out there. But, you really look at, the preparation there, slow, methodical consumption of water throughout time is a very important thing to consider. You don't need to go over 64 ounces a day, and you definitely don't need to go 8 ounces 8 times a day. So, looking at all those things, those do lead to increased dehydration. When we're out there in the heat, chugging water, but not getting our proper electrolytes replenished, we are dehydrating ourselves further, guys. For those of you out there in construction doing those things, what does that lead to? Obviously cramping, so on and so forth, right? So all the way down to heat stroke. But, it's just interesting. I think we've been drinking water perhaps unconventionally, and maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the only guy in the world that has this problem, but I know most females don't necessarily drink water the way I do. At least the females that I've encountered, guys that I know, were pretty adept to just go grab a bottle of water and finish it and think like, we've achieved our goal. But, that entire giant bottle of water is probably a little too much. And maybe some people sip, I'm not saying everybody's like me, but for those of you who are in that category, watch out for that. Watch out for those who are doing that kind of thing. And just slow and easy on the water intake. But, proper hydration helps with a lot of things. Anyways, guys, move on to our Herbal Wellness Corner, brought to you by High Horse Cannabis Company. Please shop High Horse for all the latest and greatest deals, guys. Talking about today in our Herbal Wellness Corner, CBD and THC, guys. I want to make sure that we definitely, consider the fact that for a lot of people, CBD and THC have distinctly different mechanisms of action in the body, but despite their differences, these two cannabinoids can produce many similar effects. What are those? anti-inflammatory effects, anti-seizure effects, muscle relaxant effects, analgesic or pain relief effects, anti-anxiety, anti-nausea, neuroprotective effects, and anti-cancer effects. These can produce, right? We don't have entire mechanisms of action for the entire, process of every single one of those things, but we have seen activity in vitro in certain studies in a lot of those common places, right? So for instance, you can see notable differences there as well, where you see both of them may produce anti-anxiety effects. THC can also be impairing, CBD non-impairing, right? Anti-anxiety effects can, be completely off in THC, with the psychoactive effects really triggering perhaps, a very intense response, which could be, overdone for people past their ceiling dose, which may be a very, very big punch of anxiety for some, right? It could be impairing in that sense. It could be impairing in other senses when the THC dose is too high. CBD is not, right? But interestingly enough, after that initial, panic mode decrease and being within the correct dosing range, CBD can modestly, have a reduction effect on blood pressure and eye pressure, while CBD can modestly increase them just by their mechanisms of action. THC stimulates appetite, CBD reduces appetite. Extensive research has actually also shown that combining them, both CBD and THC, produce superior therapeutic effects. Why is this? Because for a lot of people are satisfied with the fact that CBD blocks many of the undesirable effects from THC, such as intoxication, sedation, increased appetite, and rapid heart rate. CBD enhances many of the benefits of THC by adding therapeutic effects via distinct mechanisms of action, producing a synergistic effect in the body. For most people, some combination of CBD and THC will produce an optimal therapeutic experience. Here's what to consider when combining CBD and THC. Ratio. Number one, since CBD blocks some of the effects of THC at the CB1 receptor, as the ratio of CBD to THC increases, the THC-related effects decrease. 1-to-1 ratio. The largest body of clinical evidence using whole plant compounds involves pharmaceutical-grade cannabis preparation called nabiximols, which has an approximate 1-to-1 ratio of CBD and THC, primarily studied in patients with multiple sclerosis or chronic pain. The results have been excellent. At this ratio, the THC effects are still pronounced, but the adverse effects are much less. Taking enough of a 1-to-1 product will still cause some impairment, but it's less likely for one to experience any impairment when taking a therapeutic dose, right? So finding your dose, starting low and going slow, very, very important. A 1-to-1 ratio is broadly tolerated and very effective in a variety of conditions. Let's talk about 2-to-1s to 5-to-1s, CBD to THC ratios. In this range, you're producing a lower risk of psychoactivity. The effects of CBD, such as increased alertness and clear thinking, will be more pronounced. Patients who need to avoid psychoactive effects do well in this range. Then you've got your larger range from anywhere from 6-to-1 up to 30-to-1. So in this range, CBD effects predominant but are enhanced slightly by the low levels of THC. This range is ideal for patients who have a history of being very sensitive to THC. Timing. Many patients prefer to use a higher CBD to THC ratio during the day when lower psychoactivity is desirable, but prefer to shift to a lower CBD to THC ratio in the evening, weekends, or on days of symptom flare-ups. Other things to consider: total dosage and cost. As the ratio of CBD to THC increases, the total number of milligrams per dose needed to control symptoms will likely increase. For example, a person may experience pain relief after taking 3 milligrams of THC, but the person may experience similar pain relief but better tolerability. Other side effects such as increased alertness at THC 4 milligrams plus CBD 4 milligrams, being 8 milligrams of total cannabinoids. If the same person used a 10-to-1 ratio, he or she may need to work up to CBD 30 milligrams and THC 3 milligrams before achieving similar pain relief in a total dose of 33 milligrams. Are you seeing where the THC dose kind of does have to be mirrored more so to consistently keep that. If you were going to be ranging across products or not, you can also vary and test. But, in terms of mitigating kind of that stepwise ratio there, I hope you guys kind of can see that a little more. Anyways, while the 10-to-1 ratio may provide better therapeutic effects and less side effects than a THC dominant treatment, it's also going to cost more. So where you look at that, guys, another positive study in terms of 1-to-1, patients with cancer pain. One study, 177 patients with cancer pain hadn't responded to opioid pain medications compared to a 1-to-1 ratio. It was actually an oral spray with a THC spray that found patients on the 1-to-1 needed an average of 60 milligrams daily, while the THC group needed an average of 27 milligrams daily. So it's very, very interesting, right? Just remember, when using CBD dominant low THC products, or even CBD isolate by itself, the single CBD molecule without other cannabis compounds, some people actually do require very high doses to achieve therapeutic results. So where you're looking at, just CBD, people sometimes have to really jack it up on the CBD dose, and then all of a sudden you're there. But, for example, here, one study, patients with schizophrenia found great results at 600 to 800 milligrams per day. Another study found that a single dose of CBD 600 milligrams was effective in patients with social anxiety who were intentionally placed in a stressful situation. Even a very small amount of THC can improve the effectiveness of CBD, such as a 20-to-1 ratio, often much more effective than just that CBD dose alone. So, you really look at the spacing out, the dosing stepwise intervals. Everything that I just laid out there is for your cannabis confused, your cannabis naive, your cannabis curious, your pediatrics who might have to get into it, your older boomers who are looking and very, very curious about experimenting what may be working for a daytime option. You don't want to have any THC at all. Maybe you just go with strictly CBD. Maybe you can tolerate a small dose of THC with a large ratio of CBD to put it away, so you can still enjoy whatever THC-based effects that may have been, nerve pain, i.e. anything else like that. So, that's my spiel, guys. 1-to-1, shop our 1-to-1s, love it at High Horse Cannabis Company or downtown at our dispensary there. Guys, we got our 1-to-1 gummies. Most popular seller, found out, is our strawberries flavors. That's our watermelon bottle there, but we've got also the tincture ratios up 5-to-1, 10-to-1, 20-to-1s as well. Guys, those options are out there, and for medical cannabis patients, you're not paying tax on that. And patients with cancer, patients with autism, you guys are getting 50% off of all of this stuff too. If you have cancer and you need full spectrum oil, jump into our study at High Horse Cannabis Company. You can get 1 cent, 1 gram treatments, up to 60 of them, total of $2,400 value, guys. So pretty insane stuff, and you work with me to monitor that. But anyways, let's move on. Community Spotlight brought to you by the Baked Chicken Farm, guys. Shout out to the Southern New Mexico Diabetes Outreach. I'm going to put this up right here. But this is pretty cool. So they've got an event coming locally, a youth diabetes support group, teens ages 11 and up, on February 6, 2024. We've got Miss New Mexico, Leanna Hartshorn, in an educational session, 506 South Main Street, 5:30 to 7 p.m. on heart health to unlock the secrets of strong and happy heart. So awesome stuff, cool stuff. Go get involved. Send your youth out there. Cool example of someone out there promoting good community health. Love to see it, guys. All right. Lastly, Men's Health Minute. All right. Women, close your eyes. Just kidding. But we're looking at essential health tips, guys. It's that time of the month, men. Have you done your testicular self-examination? How do you do it? Do you need the directions? Once a month after a warm bath or shower, heat causes the skin to relax. Takes a few minutes, examine, each testicle gently with both hands. The index and middle fingers should be placed underneath the testicle while the thumbs placed on top. I.e. the picture, guys. Roll the testicle between the thumbs and fingers. One testicle may be larger than the other. That's normal. The epididymitis is a cord-like structure on the top and back of the testicle that transports and stores the sperm. Don't confuse that with a normal lump. Feel for lumps about the size of a pea on the front or size of the testicle, probably painless. If you find it, contact your healthcare provider right away, guys. Is it curable? Can be, but it can also spread quickly. Back in the day, it spread way too quickly. You know, it's one of the most curable cancers today due to advances in treatment, especially if found early and treated promptly. Once a month checks, guys, I'll definitely make sure to remind all of you guys, but careful. Sure, ladies, tell your men, check their